Well, we have another homage to teaching next, and that is the awarding of the James Paddock Award. This happens every year. It began in 1992 after a sad moment when the school lost an extremely respected professor, James L. Paddock, and he died very suddenly at the age of 49. He had been a professor of international relations. He had served as an academic dean here. He was deeply loved and is very much missed today. In consultation with his wife, Ilga, the school and really the faculty decided to award an annual teaching award. And the Paddock Award goes to the Fletcher professor who best exemplifies excellence in teaching. Now, our faculty does incredible research. They do lots of outreach and mentoring. They serve the larger community the way Kelly is doing, going to Washington. But at the end of the day, they are teachers. I know they would all believe that's at the heart of what they do. So this award, given annually, is quite extraordinary. And I would like, because the award is handled by the students, it comes from the students. I often say the other name for students is customers. This is, in some sense, a validation of a professor who has found her or his way to the heart of the student body. And the award is given and managed by the Student Council. So I'd like to ask Rizwan Ladha to step up as a representative of the student body. Rizwan, of course, is also the residential manager right here at the hall. And he is going to come up and announce the winner of the award. Rizwan, please join me.
Wow, look at you. Good morning, Fletcher family and the class of 2014. The selection of this year's Paddock Award winner comes as no surprise to any of us, or at least to those of us who read Dean Sheehan's emails. But the Paddock Award this year is being given to Professor William Martel. Professor Martel is one of the most passionate, dedicated, and considerate professors here at Fletcher. His infectious positivity, his willingness to be available to his students no matter what, and his gracious kindness have left an indelible mark on any student lucky enough to have taken a class with him. Now, I've been at Fletcher for 4 years so far. Let's see how long it takes. Which makes me, gives me a bit of an insight into what it is that makes Professor Martel so deserving of the Paddock Award. First, his positive attitude and commitment to his students is absolutely inspiring and unparalleled. Whether it's in class, or during office hours, or even over Skype, he finds a way to help his students see the light at the end of the tunnel, or at least sometimes to realize that the light is still there even when you can't see it. Second, for those of you who have taken a class with him, you know that in his class there is no such thing as a bad idea or a dumb question, because literally anything you say is going to be excellent. And finally, whether you're learning about cybersecurity or grand strategy, or you're sweating your way through that spring semester National Security Council simulation, you find that when the class has ended and the smoke is cleared, you have a well-developed skill set and practicable knowledge, not to mention a stack of useless 2-page policy memos. But in seriousness, you find that you also have a newfound, or perhaps a renewed, enthusiasm for the subject, and that is something that Professor Martel instills somehow effortlessly in all of his students. It is for these, amongst many other reasons, that Professor Martel is receiving the Paddock Award this year. Now, as you can see here, Professor Martel is not on the stage, as he is unable to join us in person today. However, he has prepared a few remarks which he has asked Professor Shultz to deliver on his behalf. So, please join me in congratulating Professor Martel on the Paddock Award as Professor Schultz accepts it on his behalf.
Good morning, class of 2014. I am delighted to be able to celebrate with you your award of the Paddock Prize to Bill Martel. Jim mentioned Jim Paddock, and I knew him quite well. And I can remember how seriously Jim Paddock took his role as teacher and mentor at Fletcher. Jim Paddock and I arrived at Fletcher about the same time, although he came as a very senior professor and soon was academic dean. And as academic dean, Jim Paddock stressed to me, as the most junior member of the faculty, the importance of teaching all of you, the Fletcher students. Teaching, Jim told me, was much more than showing up for class and giving a good lecture. That was only the starting point, he said. It includes working both in and outside the classroom with your students, mentoring your students, and launching them on their careers. Now, Professor Martel never had the opportunity to learn from Jim Paddock, but it's clear from what Rizwan had to say that Professor Martel is clearly on board and emulates Jim Paddock's commitment to excellence in teaching, and therefore he is very deserving of Jim's award. Class of 2014, I am also very happy to tell you that Professor Martel has received another award from Tufts University this week. As many of you know, this past academic year, Professor Martel was reviewed by the university for the grant of tenure. And many of you wrote letters to Dean Stavridis saying that you believed in the strongest way that he should be tenured. And I'm delighted to tell you that this past week, the leadership of Tufts University has granted Bill Martel tenure. Now let me read his message to you, and he begins by saying, I very much wish I could be with all of you today to accept this great honor that you have conferred on me. It is a privilege to receive the Paddock Award. I was truly thrilled when I received the message from Rizwan and members of the Student Council telling me I was selected by the class of 2014. Knowing what Jim Paddock's award means, I am flattered to be in his company. That this award comes from you, the students of the class of 2014, means a great deal to me. Please accept my heartfelt thanks. I only wish I could tell you this in person, but as you know, for reasons beyond my control, I cannot be with you today. I am delighted that my friend and colleague, Dick Shultz, has offered to stand in and present my remarks. Now, when it was announced that I was the recipient of the Paddock Award, I received many congratulatory emails. And some of those messages also came with some friendly advice, actually more like instructions for my presentation today. I will only mention two of the more explicit. The first came in a conversation with Professor Shultz. After warmly congratulating me, he strongly asserted, "Bill, keep it short. 10 minutes max, got it?" Likewise, Dean Jerry Sheehan counseled the same. "Bill, You're not in the classroom. Keep your remarks brief, 10 minutes. Now, those of you who have taken my classes know just how hard this task order is for me. However, you should know that in drafting my remarks for today, I have really tried to comply. But if this talk runs long, blame the messenger. You know him. He's notorious for starting his classes a half hour early and always running over. He thinks 7:45 a.m. is perfectly reasonable. The other piece of guidance, also from Professor Shultz, was equally direct. Nothing serious, he told me. It's graduation day. Furthermore, do not, under any circumstances, use the lingo of security studies. You will lose the audience and only bewilder those not steeped in Clausewitz, Sun Tzu, and so on. Well, that eliminated any mention of grand strategy, cybersecurity, national security decision-making, and the challenges of leadership in crisis and wartime situations. But the signal was unambiguous. Not even a passing reference to Churchill or Anwar Sadat or Golda Meir or any other of those leaders we study could find its way into my acceptance remarks. So this created a real dilemma for me. Nothing serious, no time for deep analysis, and keep the lexicon of security studies out. Now, in light of these strongly suggested restraints, let me use the remainder of my time to talk with you about what has been the essential and enduring feature of my Fletcher School experience. This is a year after year experience that has not changed for me at Fletcher since I arrived, and this continuity is what I see as the hallmark of the Fletcher School. For me, what remains unchanging is what I like to refer to as the Fletcher School's center of gravity. Now, I know I'm violating Professor Shultz's stipulation to avoid security studies terminology by using this concept, which comes from Karl von Clausewitz, one of the great theorists of strategy. But please, allow me this one digression. When I speak of Fletcher's center of gravity, I am referring to what matters most at Fletcher and what has not changed one bit since I started teaching here at Fletcher more than 10 years ago. So those of you not in security studies probably are wondering, what do I mean by center of gravity? To whom or what does this term refer? Fletcher's center of gravity is the thing that makes this Fletcher School tick. It is the hub of all motion in this school. It is the institution's strategic focal point, its heart and soul. It's what really matters. Fletcher's center of gravity is all of you sitting in front of me, the students of the Fletcher School. You are what makes this place so special and makes this school such a unique teaching and learning environment. You are what makes Fletcher tick. And I want you to know that for me, it is teaching you, mentoring you, and engaging with you that makes Fletcher so very, very special. Every new school year is an exciting experience for me because I know I will get to work with and teach you, but also to learn from you. As I have said in my classes so many times, a successful class is one in which we all are learning from each other. And trust me when I say that I learn a great deal from all of you, in my classes, in office discussions, and yes, in all of those Hall of Flags conversations. Our learning environment is one which is a mutual, reciprocal, give and take experience. All of you are what makes this institution, this Fletcher School, what it is. You are the hub of all motion inside those walls back there. Class of 2014, you are the latest testimonial to Fletcher's ethos and culture. The reason that I say this is because Fletcher, unlike its peer institutions, in addition to having superb faculty and staff, has a powerful and enduring sense of community among students, staff, and faculty. Our sense of community here at Fletcher is without peer. Simply put, no other professional school has the sense of community and commitment to each other that fuses us all together. And the bonds of friendship and loyalty with each other that we have established during your time here will only grow stronger and deeper after you have left here. Often we refer to ourselves as the Fletcher Mafia, but I think of us as the Fletcher Tribe, a community bound together by deeply rooted communal ties, values, and attachments that are formed during the time we so intensely spend together here. It is true that each class that walks into the Hall of Flags is made up of individuals who are driven by diverse interests and who come from all corners of the world. For some, this time spent here marks the beginning of a new career path. For others, it's the next step on a journey of achieving lifelong goals. But regardless of where you came from or where you now are going to, you all are now and will remain a part of Fletcher. This has not been a passing moment, but the beginning of a lifelong relationship. And this is why I said earlier that for me, it is teaching you, mentoring you, and engaging with you that makes this Fletcher School so very special. Now, I am certain that by now, Professor Shultz has gone over my 10 minutes. So let me close by returning to where I began. I want to again thank you sincerely and warmly for honoring me with James Paddock Teaching Award. I really wish I were with you today to celebrate your graduation. Please know that I'm there in spirit. I want to wish all of you graduating today the very best in what I know will be highly successful future endeavors. I know the future is bright for you and that the world will be a better place because of what you contribute to it. I also know you will find our world to be facing many serious challenges, and that solving these will call upon all the knowledge and skills you have learned at Fletcher. I also want to encourage each of you to always have a positive attitude, even when facing the most difficult challenges in the future. I believe that being positive is an essential ingredient for achieving success and all those things that really are important in life. No matter how difficult the fight you find yourself in, or how daunting the challenge you face seems to be, a positive and can-do attitude will help get you through the darkness to a successful outcome. I believe it is the only way forward. As for me, I'm looking forward to the start of my classes in the fall and to engaging with the new class of 2016. But unlike Professor Shultz, I can pledge to all of you now and forevermore that my classes will never, ever start at 7:45.